There are moments when the heart becomes tired from pretending it is not afraid. Moments when the world keeps moving, people keep talking, the day keeps asking for more, and somewhere inside you, a quieter part is whispering, I need peace. I need a place to rest. I need to know that I am not falling apart. And if that is where you are right now, let these words meet you gently. You do not have to force yourself to feel strong in this moment. You do not have to have a perfect answer. You do not have to understand why everything has happened the way it has happened. You do not even have to believe with your whole heart that all is well. Just let the possibility enter. Let it come softly, like morning light touching the edge of a closed curtain. All is well. Not because everything is easy, not because every question has been answered, not because every door is open or every wound has disappeared. All is well, because beneath the noise of this moment, there is still a place inside you that life has not broken. There is still a quiet breath moving through you. There is still a small light within you that knows how to begin again. Take one slow breath. Let the breath be simple. You do not need to perform peace. You do not need to reach for a special feeling. Just breathe as you are. And as you breathe, imagine that the words "all is well" are not trying to convince your mind. They are speaking to a deeper place, a place below worry, a place below fear, a place below the old habit of expecting something to go wrong. That deeper place is listening. It may have been waiting for you to speak kindly to it. So softly inside yourself you may say, all is well enough for this breath, not forever, not in every detail, just here, just now. All is well enough for this breath. That is where peace begins, not in the whole lifetime, not in the great unknown future, not in the perfect version of you who has solved everything. Peace begins here with one honest breath and one loving thought. Maybe your life is changing. Maybe something familiar has ended. Maybe a relationship feels different. Maybe your work, your body, your family, your home, or your future feels uncertain. Maybe you are standing in the middle of a chapter you did not choose, trying to trust a story you cannot yet read. And because you cannot see the whole path, your mind may try to fill the empty spaces with fear. The mind often does that. It tries to protect you by imagining every possible danger. It reaches for control because it wants you to be safe. It repeats old worries because old worries feel familiar. But the heart is asking for something softer now. The heart is asking to be held, not hurried. The heart is asking for comfort, not criticism. The heart is asking for a new inner voice. A voice that says, I can meet this moment gently. A voice that says, I do not have to know everything today. A voice that says, even here, even now, I am allowed to soften. Let that be the first doorway. I am allowed to soften. Say it slowly, as if you are speaking to the part of you that has been bracing for too long. I am allowed to soften. There is no weakness in softness. A river is soft, yet it shapes stone. A flower is soft, yet it opens after the coldest night. The breath is soft, yet it carries life through the body again and again without asking for praise. Softness is not giving up. Softness is returning to your natural rhythm. So if your shoulders are tight, let them drop just a little. If your jaw is clenched, let it loosen. If your chest feels guarded, place a gentle thought there, like a hand resting over the heart. You are not here to fight yourself into peace. You are here to remember that peace has always known your name. All is well does not mean you must like everything that is happening. It does not mean you must smile when you want to cry. It does not mean you must call pain a blessing before your heart is ready. It simply means there is a steadiness beneath the storm. Think of the sky on a cloudy day. The clouds may be heavy. The light may be hidden. Rain may fall for hours. But above the clouds, the sky is still whole. The sky has not been damaged by the weather moving through it. You are like that. Your thoughts are weather. Your feelings are weather. Your circumstances, even when they feel intense, are weather moving through the larger space of your being. You are not the passing storm. You are the quiet sky that has room for it all. And if that feels too far away to believe, begin smaller. I am here. I am breathing. This moment is carrying me. That is enough for now. Sometimes the kindest spiritual truth is not the grandest one. Sometimes the kindest truth is very small. Tea fits in your palm. It fits in your breath. It does not ask you to leap. It only asks you to notice that you are still here, still living, still learning, still capable of receiving a kinder thought. There may be a part of you that says, "But how can all be well when I still feel afraid?" And the answer is this: peace does not require the absence of fear. Peace begins when fear is no longer the only voice in the room. Fear may speak, but it does not have to lead. Worry may visit, but it does not have to build a home inside you. Old pain may rise, but it does not have to become your identity. You can make space for another voice, a calmer voice, a wiser voice, a voice that has been within you all along. It may say, "I can be afraid and still be held." It may say, "I can be uncertain and still choose love." It may say, "I can be changing and still be whole." This is the gentle power of affirmation, not a command shouted at life, not a demand that the world become perfect. An affirmation is a loving direction given to your own heart. It is a candle you light inside the mind. It does not erase the night. It helps you see where to place your next step. So tonight or today, wherever you are hearing these words, let the first candle be this: all is well within me, even as life changes around me. Let the words move slowly: all is well within me, even as life changes around me. You may not feel the full truth of it yet. That is all right. You are not forcing belief. You are practicing a new kind of listening. For so long, perhaps you have listened to the voice that says, "Hurry, fix this, do more, be better, get there faster, do not fall behind, do not make mistakes, do not rest until everything is certain." But certainty is not the doorway to peace. Presence is. And presence is much closer than certainty. Certainty says, "I will relax when I know what happens next." Presence says, "I can relax my hands right now." Certainty says, "I need the whole road." Presence says, "I can take the next step." Certainty says, "I must control the outcome." Presence says, "I can meet this breath with kindness." Let yourself come back to presence. Notice the quiet around the words. Notice the space between one breath and the next. Notice that even in this moment, without solving your entire life, something in you can loosen. That loosening matters. One small release matters. One kind thought matters. One gentle breath matters. This is how change becomes less frightening. Not because you know every answer, but because you stop abandoning yourself while the answers are still forming. You stay with yourself. You speak kindly to yourself. You stop treating your fear as an enemy and begin treating it as a tired child who needs reassurance. If fear is here, you may say, "I see you. I understand why you came. You have tried to protect me, but we are going to breathe now. We are going to soften now. We are going to listen to love now." And slowly, the inner atmosphere begins to change. Not all at once, not with pressure, but like a room becoming warmer after someone lights a fire. All is well. Let those words become warmth, not a rule, not a performance. A warmth, a place you can return to when the mind becomes loud. All is well. I am here. I am breathing. I can choose peace one thought at a time. There is a beautiful freedom in realizing that you do not need to repair your whole life before you are allowed to feel peace. You can feel a little peace in the middle of the repair. You can feel a little peace while questions remain. You can feel a little peace while you are still growing. You are not required to become finished before you become worthy of rest. You are allowed to be in progress and still be loved by your own heart. Let that settle. You are allowed to be in progress. So much suffering comes from believing you should already be somewhere else. More healed, more successful, more certain, more calm, more loved, more complete. But the soul does not grow through punishment. It grows through attention, through patience, through truth spoken gently, through the willingness to begin again without turning the past into a weapon. Maybe you have judged yourself for being sensitive, for taking time, for needing reassurance, for changing slowly. But what if your sensitivity is not a flaw? What if it is the doorway through which you learn compassion? What if your pace is not proof that you are behind, but proof that your life is asking to be lived with more care? All is well does not mean you are finished. It means you are held while you unfold, like a bud before it opens. It is not failing because it is not yet a flower. It is becoming in its own sacred timing. It does not shame itself for being closed. It does not compare itself to the bloom beside it. It simply receives light, receives water, receives the quiet instruction of life. And when the time is right, it opens. You too are allowed to open in your own time. Let this be a breath of mercy inside you. I do not have to rush my becoming. I do not have to shame my own timing. I am allowed to grow gently. Feel how different that is from pressure. Pressure says, change now or you are not enough. Love says, you are enough, and from that truth, change becomes possible. Pressure tightens the body. Love gives the body room to breathe. Pressure says, prove yourself. Love says, return to yourself. That is why peace and change belong together. Real change does not come from hating who you have been. It comes from loving yourself enough to choose differently. A harsh inner voice may create movement for a little while, but it cannot create true peace. It may push you, but it will not nourish you. It may force effort, but it will not teach trust. The change your soul is asking for is gentler than that. It begins with a new relationship to yourself, the way you speak to yourself when you are tired, the way you hold yourself when you make a mistake, the way you breathe when you do not know what comes next, the way you choose one loving thought when the old thought returns. This is where the affirmation becomes powerful. Not because the words are magic, because the words are chosen. And every chosen word is a small act of freedom. You can choose words that bruise you, or you can choose words that bless you. You can repeat the old fear, or you can begin to repeat a new kindness. You can say, I cannot handle this, or you can say, I can take one gentle step. You can say, I am lost, or you can say, I am learning to listen. You can say, nothing is working, or you can say, something in me is still becoming clear. This is not denial. This is direction. You are giving your mind a softer path to walk. And the first path is inner safety. I am safe in this moment. Let this affirmation come like a deep exhale. I am safe in this moment. Not every moment in memory, not every imagined moment in the future. This moment, the one you are in now, the one where your breath is still here, the one where your body is listening, the one where your heart is being offered kindness. I am safe in this moment. Let your body receive only what it can receive. If the words feel too big, make them smaller. I am safe enough to breathe. I am safe enough to soften a little. I am safe enough to be here. Sometimes the nervous system does not believe big promises. It has been through too much. It may not trust grand declarations. So speak to it simply. Speak to it honestly. Speak to it as you would speak to someone you love. You do not need to convince your whole body at once. You only need to offer it a little evidence of peace, a slower breath, a softer hand, a quieter thought, a pause before reacting, a moment of not fighting yourself. That is enough to begin. Imagine standing inside a small, warm room while rain taps gently against the window. Outside, the world may be wet and restless. The wind may move through the trees. The sky may be gray. But inside this room, there is a lamp on. There is a chair waiting. There is a blanket folded near you. There is no demand. This room is your inner safety. You can return to it through breath. You can return to it through kindness. You can return to it through the simple words, I am safe in this moment. You may still have things to face. You may still have choices to make. You may still have conversations, responsibilities, healing, and decisions ahead of you. Inner safety does not remove your life. It helps you meet your life without losing yourself. That is the gift. When you feel safe inside, even a little, you do not need to grip so tightly. You do not need to imagine every outcome. You do not need to be harsh with yourself to stay alert. You can become calm enough to hear your own wisdom. Your wisdom is quiet. It does not shout over panic. It waits until you breathe. So breathe. Let the body know it is not being hunted by this moment. Let the mind know it does not have to solve the whole future tonight. Let the heart know it is not alone. You are here with yourself, and that matters more than you may realize. For many people, the deepest fear is not change itself. It is the fear of being abandoned inside change. The fear that when life shifts, there will be no ground, no comfort, no inner home, no voice of reassurance. But you are learning to become that voice. You are learning to tell yourself, I will not leave you just because life is uncertain. I will not shame you because you are afraid. I will not rush you because you are healing. I will stay. Those two words can change the feeling of the whole inner world. I will stay. Stay with your breath. Stay with your heart. Stay with the part of you that wants to trust again. You do not need to stay in old pain. You do not need to stay in harmful places. You do not need to stay in beliefs that make you small. But you can stay with yourself as you grow beyond them. That is self-love. Not always easy, not always comfortable, but deeply healing to the spirit. Let the affirmation return. I am safe in this moment. Let it become less like a sentence and more like a place. A place you can sit down. A place where the inner critic becomes softer. A place where the breath gets deeper. A place where you remember that you are not a problem to be solved. You are a person to be loved. You are not behind because you are still learning peace. You are not weak because you need comfort. You are not failing because change feels tender. You are human. And being human means there will be days when your faith feels strong and days when you need to borrow softness from a sentence, a breath, a prayer, a quiet moment. That is not failure. That is practice. So practice now. I am safe in this moment. I give myself permission to breathe. I allow peace to find me here. Notice the word allow. It is such a gentle word. Allow does not push. It opens. Allow does not demand. It receives. Allow does not fight. It makes space. So much of healing begins with allowing. Allowing the body to rest. Allowing the heart to feel. Allowing the mind to choose again. Allowing change to become part of growth instead of proof that something has gone wrong. Because change is here for every living thing. The moon changes shape in the sky, and still it is the moon. The sea changes its tide, and still it is the sea. The trees change with the seasons, and still they belong to the earth. You have changed many times, and still you are you. Maybe not the same version, maybe wiser, softer in some places, stronger in others. Maybe more honest now, maybe less willing to abandon yourself. Maybe more aware of what your heart truly needs. Change has not erased you. It has revealed you. And perhaps the change you are facing now is not here to punish you. Perhaps it is asking you to loosen an old skin, to release a belief that became too tight, to stop carrying a role that no longer fits, to come closer to the truth of who you are becoming. This does not mean change is always easy. Sometimes change grieves. Sometimes change asks for tears. Sometimes change closes a door before another one is visible. Sometimes change feels like standing in a hallway between the old life and the new one, holding your breath. But even in the hallway, all is not lost. The hallway is not the end. It is a passage. A place between, a place where your soul gathers itself before stepping forward. If you are in such a place, do not shame the uncertainty. Do not mistake the quiet for abandonment. do not call the waiting useless. Something in you may be rearranging. Something in you may be learning a new way to trust. Let this affirmation meet that place. I allow change to support my growth. Say it gently. I allow change to support my growth. Not force my growth, not rush my growth. Support my growth. That is important. You are not asking change to drag you. You are inviting it to teach you. You are allowing life to show you what can no longer come with you and what is ready to be born. There is a kind of peace that comes when you stop arguing with the fact that life moves. You do not have to love every movement. You do not have to understand every season. But you can stop telling yourself that every change means danger. Some changes are invitations. Some changes are corrections. Some changes are openings. Some changes are endings that protect your energy. Some changes are beginnings that arrive quietly without announcing themselves. And some changes are simply life doing what life does, moving, breathing, turning the page. You can let the page turn without believing the whole story is over. A new page is not an empty threat. It may be a space where something more honest can be written. Think of a room that has held the same furniture for years. Every chair in the same place. Every shelf full. Every corner known. It feels familiar, but perhaps it has become crowded. Perhaps there is no space to move. Perhaps old things are taking up room where light wants to enter. Change is sometimes the act of opening the window. It may stir the dust at first. It may make the room feel different. It may ask you to decide what stays and what goes. But slowly, fresh air arrives. Slowly, the space begins to breathe again. Your life is allowed to breathe again. You are allowed to outgrow what once felt necessary. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to want peace more than approval. You are allowed to choose differently when you know differently. You are allowed to become someone who treats themselves with more care. I allow change to support my growth. Let those words be an open window. Maybe the change you need is not dramatic. Maybe it is very quiet. Maybe it is the change from waking up and criticizing yourself to waking up and placing one kind thought in your mind. Maybe it is the change from saying yes when your whole body means no, to pausing and honoring your limits. Maybe it is the change from waiting for others to approve of your worth to practicing the truth that your worth is already here. Maybe it is the change from fearing stillness to letting stillness become a friend. Small changes count. A small change repeated with love can become a new way of living. Do not underestimate the gentle shift, the soft answer, the slower morning, the honest boundary, the forgiving breath, the decision to stop speaking to yourself as if you are an enemy. These are not small to the soul. They are sacred movements. And if part of you resists change, let that part be welcomed too. Resistance often appears where there has been hurt. It is not always stubbornness. Sometimes it is a memory saying, I am afraid to hope again. I am afraid to trust again. I am afraid to open and be disappointed. So do not fight the resistance. Listen beneath it. Ask gently, what are you trying to protect? Maybe it is protecting your heart. Maybe it is protecting your dignity. Maybe it is protecting an old wound that never received enough kindness. Give kindness now. Say to that part of you, we will go slowly. We will not force. We will not abandon ourselves. We will let change come with gentleness. This is how peace and change can walk together. Peace does not mean standing still forever. Peace means you can move without violence toward yourself. Peace means you can grow without shame. Peace means you can release what is leaving and still bless the part of you that once needed it. There are versions of you that helped you survive. Thank them. The version that stayed busy because stillness felt frightening. The version that pleased others because rejection felt unbearable. The version that controlled everything because uncertainty felt unsafe. The version that expected the worst because disappointment had once hurt too much. Do not hate these versions. They were trying to help. But you do not have to let every survival pattern become your future. You can thank the old way and choose a softer one. You can say, I understand why I learned this. And now I am willing to learn peace. T is change with compassion. That is growth without self-attack. That is how all becomes well inside you. Not because the past was perfect, but because you are no longer using the past to punish your present. Take another breath. Imagine the breath moving through the places in you that have been afraid of change. Not to fix them, not to rush them, just to bring warmth. Let the breath say, we are safe enough to grow. Let the breath say, we can take our time. Let the breath say, there is room for a new beginning. And when you are ready, let the affirmation return, perhaps even softer than before. I allow change to support my growth. I do not have to fight every ending. I do not have to fear every beginning. I can meet this season with a kinder heart. There is courage in that, a quiet courage, not the kind that needs to be seen by everyone, the kind that happens inside when no one is watching, the kind that chooses a loving thought when the old fear returns, the kind that rests instead of spiraling, the kind that says, I will not make myself smaller just because life is asking me to become new. Change may ask you to trust what you cannot yet see, but trust does not have to be huge. Trust can begin as a tiny bridge across one breath. I trust this breath, then the next, then the next, and slowly the bridge becomes a path. You do not have to trust the entire mountain, just the step beneath your foot. All is well enough for this step. All is well enough for this breath. All is well enough for this moment of becoming. As these words settle into you, remember that peace is not somewhere far away waiting for a perfect life. Peace is a choice you can return to in the middle of an imperfect one. It may return for only a few seconds at first. Welcome those seconds. They are seeds. It may come as a slight softening in the face, a deeper breath, a pause before worry takes over, a moment when you notice the sunlight, or the sound of the room, or the simple fact that you are still here. These are signs that your inner world is listening. You are not starting from nothing. You are starting from life itself, moving through you. You are starting from the breath. You are starting from the quiet willingness to believe that maybe, even now, something within you can be at peace. All is well. Let it mean, I am not alone inside myself. Let it mean, I can grow gently. Let it mean, I am safe in this moment. Let it mean, change can carry wisdom even before I understand it. Let it mean, I am allowed to meet life with a softer heart. And as you rest with that, another truth begins to appear. A truth that may feel both tender and freeing. You do not need to control everything in order to be safe. You do not need to control everything in order to be safe. Let that thought enter slowly, because the part of you that loves as control may not want to hear it at first. That part has worked very hard. It has watched every detail. It has planned conversations before they happened. It has imagined what could go wrong so you would not be surprised. It has tried to hold the future tightly, as if enough pressure could turn uncertainty into peace. And perhaps, for a while, control felt like protection. It may have helped you feel prepared. It may have helped you survive certain seasons. It may have helped you move through moments when support was not easy to find. So do not shame the part of you that learned to control. Thank it for trying to keep you steady. But now, gently, lovingly, you can tell it this. You do not have to carry the whole sky. You do not have to keep the sun rising. You do not have to hold every person, every outcome, every answer, every possibility inside your chest. There is a difference between taking care of your life and trying to control all of life. Taking care is wise. Control is exhausting. Taking care listens. Control grips. Taking care makes the next honest choice. Control tries to force the whole road to appear before the first step is taken. And your spirit was not made to live clenched. You were not made to move through life with your breath held, your shoulders tight, your mind racing from one fear to the next. You were made for rhythm, for trust, for participation, for a way of living where you do what is yours to do and then place the rest down with humility. This is not passivity. This is peace. There are things that are yours. your words, your choices, your boundaries, your honesty, your willingness, your response to this moment. And there are things that are not yours. Another person's reaction, the exact timing of every event, the whole shape of the future, the hidden movement of life beyond what you can see. When you confuse the two, the heart becomes tired. When you learn the difference, the heart begins to breathe. So place this affirmation gently inside yourself. I release the need to control everything, not all at once, not with force, not as another command you must obey perfectly, just as an invitation. I release the need to control everything. You might feel a little resistance. That is natural. The mind may ask, if I stop controlling, will everything fall apart? If I loosen my grip, will I lose what matters? If I stop worrying, will I stop caring? But worry is not the same as love. Pressure is not the same as devotion. Fear is not the same as wisdom. You can care deeply without caring painfully. You can love someone without managing their path. You can work towards something without making your peace depend on the exact result. You can hold a dream with open hands. Open hands are not empty hands. They are ready hands. They can receive. They can bless. They can let go when something becomes too heavy. They can welcome what is given without crushing it. Control closes the hand. Trust opens it. Take a slow breath and imagine that your hands, whether they are resting beside you or folded in your lap, are becoming soft. No more gripping invisible ropes. No more pulling the future toward you before it is ready. No more trying to keep every piece of life from moving. Let the hands soften. Let the belly soften. Let the space behind the eyes soften. There is a quiet intelligence in life that does not require your constant tension to function. The seasons turn without your instruction. The tide moves without your permission. Seeds break open in darkness before they ever see the light. So much of life is unfolding quietly, beneath the surface, beyond the reach of the anxious mind. This does not mean you do nothing. It means you do not turn everything into a battle. You answer the message when it is time. You make the choice when it is clear. You rest when your body asks. You apologize when your heart knows it is right. You say no when your peace requires it. You say yes when your spirit opens, and then you release the rest. Again gently, I release the need to control everything. I do what is mine to do. I let the rest unfold with wisdom. The word unfold is important. Life does not always reveal itself like a door swinging open all at once. Sometimes it unfolds like a letter that has been folded many times. One crease opens, then another. A line becomes visible, then a sentence, then a meaning you could not have understood while it was still closed. You may be in the middle of the unfolding. Do not tear the page because you are impatient. Do not assume there is no message because you cannot read it yet. Let life unfold. Let yourself unfold. There are answers that come only after your nervous system has rested. There are insights that arrive only after you stop chasing them. There are decisions that become clearer when you stop forcing yourself to decide from panic. Stillness can be a form of guidance. Rest can be a form of wisdom. Waiting, when held with love, can be a place where the soul gathers strength. This is where divine timing enters, not as a promise that every desire will appear exactly as imagined, but as a peaceful reminder that your life does not have to obey the clock of fear. Fear says, you are late. Love says, you are learning. Fear says, everyone else is ahead. Love says, your path is your own. Fear says, if it has not happened yet, it never will. Love says, breathe. There may be more forming than you can see. You have perhaps spent many days comparing your season to someone else's harvest, looking at another person's life and wondering why their door opened, why their answer came, why their love, success, clarity, or confidence seemed to arrive sooner. But you cannot judge the sacred timing of your life by the visible chapter of another person's story. You do not know what they carried. You do not know what they lost. You do not know what their soul came here to learn. And they do not know the quiet becoming taking place inside you. So release the race. Step out of the invisible line where you have been measuring your worth by speed. Your life is not a race to prove that you deserve to exist. Your life is a relationship with your own soul. And the soul does not bloom on command. It responds to light, to patience, to care, to truth, to the steady warmth of being allowed to become. Say softly, I trust the timing of my life. Let this not be a phrase of resignation, but a phrase of relief. I trust the timing of my life. This does not mean you stop taking steps. It means you stop using delay as evidence against yourself. It means you stop saying, I must be forgotten. You are not forgotten because something takes time. You are not behind because something is still forming. You are not unworthy because an answer has not yet arrived. Sometimes life is not withholding from you. Sometimes life is shaping within you the capacity to meet what is coming with steadiness. Sometimes the pause is not punishment. It is preparation. Sometimes the path bends because a straight road would not have taught you what your heart needed to know. Again, safely, simply, I trust the timing of my life. I release comparison. I allow my path to unfold in its own way. Feel the body respond to the release of comparison. Comparison is heavy because it asks you to abandon your own life and live in the imagined life of another. It pulls you out of your breath. It makes your own blessings look too small. It turns growth into competition and peace into something always just out of reach. But when you return to your own path, something quiet happens. The world becomes more honest. The breath becomes more available. You begin to see what is actually here. The cup of tea, the light on the wall, the strength it took to keep going, the courage in your small steps, the wisdom that did not come quickly, but came deeply. Your timing has carried lessons that speed could not have given you. Maybe you had to learn discernment. Maybe you had to learn to stop pleasing everyone. Maybe you had to learn that peace matters more than being chosen. Maybe you had to learn that your worth does not disappear when someone misunderstands you. Maybe you had to learn to stand beside yourself. These lessons are not delays, they are foundations. Do not despise the foundation because it is not yet the roof. Without it, the house cannot stand. You are building something within yourself that deserves patience. A peaceful life is not only built from outer achievements, it is built from inner trust. It is built from the way you speak to yourself when plans change. It is built from the way you return to your center after disappointment. It is built from the way you keep choosing love without pretending you never feel afraid. And this brings us to a tender truth. Many people do not fear change as much as they fear not being worthy of peace while change is happening. They believe they must earn calm. They believe they must complete the list, fix the relationship, prove the point, meet the expectation, and become some better version of themselves before they are allowed to rest. But peace that must be earned by perfection is not peace. It is pressure wearing a softer name. True peace is not a prize given only to the flawless. It is a place within you that can be visited even when life is unfinished. You can be uncertain and still worthy of peace. You can be healing and still worthy of peace. You can be learning from mistakes and still worthy of peace. You can be in transition and still worthy of peace. You can have unanswered questions and still worthy of peace. Let the next affirmation arrive like warm water over tired hands. I am worthy of peace. Say it without rushing. I am worthy of peace. Not because you did everything right. Not because everyone understands you. Not because the future is certain. Because you are a living being with a tender heart. And tenderness deserves care. You do not have to keep punishing yourself to prove that you are responsible. You do not have to stay anxious to prove that you care. You do not have to replay old mistakes every night to prove that you have learned. There is another way to grow. You can grow through love. You can grow through honesty. You can grow through quiet accountability that does not become self-hatred. You can say, I see what I need to learn, and I will not abandon myself while I learn it. That is maturity. That is healing in a gentle form. If guilt has been sitting heavily in your heart, speak to it with calm respect. Do not let it rule you, but do not pretend it is not there. Guilt often appears when the heart is asking for repair, forgiveness, or change. Listen for the message, but do not become the prison. There is a difference between learning and suffering endlessly. Learning opens a door. Endless punishment locks it. So if there is something to make right, let wisdom guide you. If there is something to release, let compassion help you. If there is something you cannot change, let mercy be with you. And through it all, remember, I am worthy of peace. Peace may not come as a sudden wave. It may come as a small clearing inside the chest. It may come as a moment when the mind stops arguing. It may come as a breath where you realize you do not have to be cruel to yourself anymore. Welcome the small clearing. A small clearing is still space, and space is where new life enters. When you allow peace, you are not ignoring the world. You are becoming less controlled by panic. You are giving your choices a calmer place to come from. You are letting your words arise from your heart instead of your fear. Peace does not make you passive. Peace makes you present. From peace, you can speak more clearly. From peace, you can listen more deeply. From peace, you can choose what truly supports you. From peace, you can release what is no longer aligned with your well-being. So let the affirmation deepen. I am worthy of peace even before everything is solved. I am worthy of peace even while I am changing. I am worthy of peace because peace helps me become more loving. There is a softness in this truth that the inner critic does not understand. The critic believes harshness will keep you safe. It believes if it shames you enough, you will become better. But shame does not create wholeness. It creates hiding. Love creates honesty. When you are loved, you can look at yourself without flinching. You can see what needs to change without calling yourself bad. You can take responsibility without losing tenderness. You can begin again without carrying the weight of every old version of yourself. The inner voice matters. The words you repeat inside yourself become the weather of your inner life. If the mind is always filled with harsh sentences, the body feels as though it is living under a gray sky. But one loving thought, repeated gently, can become a break in the clouds. You do not need to think perfectly. You do not need to be positive all day. You do not need to silence every fear. You only need to begin choosing kinder thoughts when you notice the old ones causing pain. This is the next practice. I choose loving thoughts one breath at a time. Let the words feel practical, not impossible. I choose loving thoughts one breath at a time. One breath at a time means you are not trying to transform your whole mind in a single moment. You are not scolding yourself for having fear. You are not pretending that painful thoughts never come. You are simply learning to pause and ask, is there a kinder way to speak to myself right now? When the thought says, I am failing, perhaps the kinder thought says, I am learning something difficult. When the thought says, I cannot handle this, perhaps the kinder thought says, I can handle the next small step. When the thought says, I should be over this. Perhaps the kinder thought says, I am allowed to heal at a human pace. When the thought says, nothing is changing, perhaps the kinder thought says, some changes begin quietly. This is not lying to yourself. This is mothering yourself. This is giving your heart the language it needed years ago. The mind learns through repetition. It learns fear through repetition, and it can learn love through repetition too. Every time you choose a kinder thought, you are not wasting effort. You are carving a new path. At first, the old path may seem easier because you have walked it often, but keep choosing the softer path. Keep placing our feet there. Keep returning when you wander. Eventually, kindness becomes more familiar. Eventually, peace becomes easier to recognize. Eventually, the inner voice that once attacked you begins to lose its authority. Not because you fought it with anger, but because you stopped feeding it your full belief. You can hear a harsh thought and not obey it. You can notice a fearful story and not build your whole day around it. You can let an old belief pass through without making it your home. Think of your mind as a table where many guests may sit. Fear may arrive, doubt may arrive, memory may arrive. But you are allowed to invite wisdom to the table too. You are allowed to let compassion speak. You are allowed to let hope sit near you, even if it speaks softly. And when hope speaks softly, listen. Hope may not say, everything will happen exactly as you want. Hope may say, there is still good available. Hope may say, this is not the end of your becoming. Hope may say, be gentle, something in you is healing. Hope may say, choose one loving thought now. That is enough. I choose loving thoughts one breath at a time. One breath, one thought, one return. If you forget, return. If you spiral, return. If you speak harshly to yourself, notice and return. Do not turn the practice of loving thought into another reason to judge yourself. That would miss the point. The point is not to become a perfect thinker. The point is to become a kinder companion to your own life. You are the person you speak to most. Let your words become a place of refuge. Let your inner language become a soft place to land after hard days. Let your thoughts become windows, not walls. And as the inner language softens, the heart often becomes more willing to receive. Because it is difficult to receive good when a part of you keeps insisting you do not deserve it. It is difficult to accept kindness when your inner voice doubts your worth. It is difficult to rest when your thoughts tell you rest must be earned. So the practice of loving thought prepares the way for receiving. Receiving does not always mean something grand or dramatic. It can be simple. Receiving a compliment without pushing it away. receiving help without apologizing for needing it, receiving a quiet moment without filling it with noise, receiving the beauty of the morning without rushing past it, receiving your own breath as a gift. Goodness does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it comes as a calm conversation, a useful idea, a moment of clarity, a warm meal, a peaceful walk, a sentence that comforts you, a new boundary that protects your energy, a chance to start again. If you only look for goodness in dramatic forms, you may miss the gentle ways it is already reaching toward you. So let the next affirmation open the heart in a grounded way. I welcome good in gentle and honest ways. Say it with ease. I welcome good in gentle and honest ways. This is an affirmation of openness, not demand. You are not forcing life to deliver a certain picture. You are allowing yourself to notice, receive, and participate in the good that supports your well-being. Gentle good may not always look like what the old mind expected. Sometimes good looks like rest instead of more striving. Sometimes good looks like a closed door that helps you turn back toward yourself. Sometimes good looks like a delay that gives you time to grow in clarity. Sometimes good looks like a difficult truth that finally sets your heart free. Sometimes good looks like ordinary peace, the kind you once overlooked because you were waiting for something louder. Let your definition of good become wider. Let abundance become more than money. Abundance can be enough breath for this moment, enough courage for one conversation, enough kindness to soften your own heart, enough wisdom to choose differently, enough support to keep going, enough quiet to hear yourself, enough gratitude to see that not everything is missing. When the heart is frightened, it often counts what is absent. It makes lists of what has not happened, what did not arrive, what is not yet healed, what is not yet certain. But receiving asks you to also count what is present. What is here? Is there a breath? Is there a place to sit? Is there one person, one memory, one lesson, one moment of beauty? Is there a small strength you have not thanked yourself for? Is there a sign that you have survived days you once thought would break you? Let the heart notice, not to deny what hurts, but to remember that pain is not the only thing in the room. Good can coexist with uncertainty. Beauty can appear on difficult days. Support can come in simple forms. Peace can begin before the whole story changes. I welcome good in gentle and honest ways. There is no need to exaggerate this, no need to turn it into a promise that every wish arrives exactly on schedule. This is quieter. It is the soul saying, I am willing to receive what nourishes me. I am willing to notice what supports me. I am willing to stop pushing away every kindness. For some, receiving feels vulnerable. Giving feels safer because giving allows control. Helping others can feel familiar. Being needed can feel like worth. But receiving asks you to open without managing every detail. It asks you to believe that you can be cared for without earning every drop of care. This can feel tender. So begin with small receiving. Receive this breath. Receive the support beneath your body. Receive the possibility that you do not have to prove yourself in this moment. Receive a kind word without arguing against it. Receive silence without fearing it. Receive your own forgiveness. Receive the truth that you are allowed to have needs. The soul becomes tired when it is always giving from an empty room. Let the room be filled again, not with noise, with nourishment, with truth, with quiet, with the gentle good that comes when you stop refusing softness. I welcome good in gentle and honest ways. And if the mind asks, what if nothing good comes? Do not argue harshly. Simply return to what is already here. Let the smallest good be enough to begin opening the door, the warmth in your hands, the chance to breathe again. The fact that you are listening to words meant to comfort your spirit. The willingness inside you, however small, to choose peace. These are beginnings, and beginnings matter. You are not required to open your heart all at once. You may open it like a window on a cool morning, just a little at first, letting the air enter slowly. You can test the safety of receiving. You can let good approach without demanding that it prove everything immediately. Gentle trust grows through gentle practice, and as trust grows, you may find that the sentence, "all is well," begins to feel less like something far away and more like something living quietly inside your own breath. All is well because I can release what is not mine to control. All is well because my timing does not have to match anyone else's. All is well because I am worthy of peace now. All is well because I can choose a kinder thought. All is well because good can reach me in simple, honest ways. Let these truths gather within you, not as a list to memorize, but as a softer way to inhabit your own life. There is still more to release. There is still more to receive. And somewhere beneath it all, there is an old burden that may be ready to be met with forgiveness. There is still more to release. There is still more to receive. And somewhere beneath it all, there is an old burden that may be ready to be met with forgiveness. Not the kind of forgiveness that forces you to forget what happened. Not the kind that asks you to pretend you were never hurt. Not the kind that makes your pain smaller so someone else can feel comfortable. This forgiveness begins within. It is the moment you stop using yesterday as a weapon against your own heart. It is the moment you say, I have carried this long enough. It is the moment you realize that punishing yourself has not given you peace. It has only kept the wound open. Maybe there are things you wish you had done differently. words you wish you had spoken, choices you wish you had made with more wisdom, times you gave too much, times you stayed too long, times you were silent when your spirit wanted truth, times you reacted from fear because you did not yet know how to respond from love. Look at those moments gently now. Do not look at them through the eyes of shame. Look at them through the eyes of someone who understands that every person is learning as they go. There were seasons when you only knew what you knew. There were seasons when your heart was tired. There were seasons when old wounds were making decisions for you. There were seasons when survival looked like pleasing, hiding, gripping, running, or staying small. And now, with more awareness, you can choose differently. That is growth. That is grace. That is the quiet doorway of a new beginning. Let this affirmation rise softly. I forgive myself and allow a new beginning. Let it move slowly through the places inside you that still feel heavy. I forgive myself and allow a new beginning. You do not have to know how to forgive everything at once. Begin with willingness. Begin with a small softening. Begin with the possibility that you are not meant to carry guilt forever. Guilt may tell you that it keeps you good, but love teaches more deeply than guilt ever could. Guilt keeps you bent toward the past. Love helps you stand in the present. Guilt repeats the pain. Love learns the lesson. Guilt says, you are what happened. Love says, you are what you are choosing now. Let love teach you. Maybe the new beginning is not dramatic. Maybe it is a quieter choice. Tonight, you stop repeating one cruel sentence about yourself. Tomorrow, you pause before agreeing to something that drains you. This week, you speak to your reflection with less criticism. This month, you begin trusting that your worth is not something you lost. A new beginning does not always announce itself. Sometimes it arrives as a change in tone, a softer breath, a moment of honesty, a decision to stop rehearsing the same old pain. You can begin again without rejecting who you have been. You can begin again by holding every version of yourself with compassion. The younger you who did not know, the tired you who did their best, the afraid you who reached for control, the hopeful you who kept believing in love even after disappointment. Do not leave them outside the door of your healing. Invite them in. Let them sit beside you. Tell them, we made it here. We are learning now. We can be kinder from this point forward. I forgive myself and allow a new beginning. Let that be a warm cloth laid over an old ache. There is nothing harsh in it. There is no demand, only release, only permission, only the return of your own heart to yourself. And as forgiveness begins to open space inside you, you may notice another tender need beneath it. The need to be helped. The need to stop doing everything alone. The need to believe that support can come without shame. So many people carry a private loneliness. They may be surrounded by others, yet inside they feel responsible for everything. They carry the emotions in the room. They carry the planning. They carry the fixing. They carry the hope. They carry the fear. They carry the image of being strong because you do not know who they would be if they set it down. But strength is not the same as isolation. You were never meant to be a closed house with every window locked. You were meant to breathe with life. You were meant to receive air, warmth, kindness, wisdom, rest. You were meant to be part of a larger rhythm. Let the next affirmation come gently. I let life help me in ways I can receive. Say it slowly, not as a demand, but as an opening. I let life help me in ways I can receive. This is a humble affirmation. It does not insist on how help must arrive. It does not demand a sign. It does not bargain with life. It simply opens a door. Help may come as clarity after rest. Help may come as courage to ask for support. Help may come as a kind word at the right time. Help may come as the strength to say no. Help may come as a quiet realization that you no longer have to carry an old belief. Help may come as patience. Help may come as a slower path that protects your peace. Help may come as your own inner wisdom finally being heard. Let life help you in ways that are gentle, honest, and aligned with your well-being. And let yourself become available to that help. Sometimes help cannot enter because the heart is too busy proving it needs nothing. Sometimes kindness cannot land because the mind is already preparing to reject it. Sometimes guidance is missed because fear is speaking so loudly. So soften the inner gate, not wide open to everything. Discernment still matters. Boundaries still matter. Wisdom still matters, but open enough to receive what is good. Open enough to say, I do not have to do this all alone. Open enough to believe that support is not weakness. Open enough to let love have a way in. I let life help me in ways I can receive. Perhaps this means letting someone be kind without explaining why you do not deserve it. Perhaps it means resting before you are completely empty. Perhaps it means listening to the quiet yes or no in your body. Perhaps it means allowing a new idea to come instead of forcing the old plan to work. Perhaps it means trusting that the next step can be revealed without your constant fear. You are allowed to be helped. You are allowed to be supported. You are allowed to be held by ordinary graces. The chair beneath you, the ground beneath the chair, the breath within your body, the quiet strength that has carried you to this moment, the love you are learning to give yourself, the unseen wisdom that often speaks in gentle nudges. Let these forms of support become real to you, not perfect, not dramatic. Real. The heart does not always need something grand. Sometimes it needs permission to stop bracing. So give yourself that permission. I forgive myself and allow a new beginning. I let life help me in ways I can receive. Let these two affirmations sit together like two hands around your heart. One hand says, "You may release the past." The other says, "You do not have to walk forward alone." And between them, something inside you can rest. This is where the deeper meaning of all is well begins to bloom. Not as a statement that every outer circumstance is exactly as you want it to be, not as a denial of grief, uncertainty, or change, but as a spiritual posture, a way of standing inside life with a softer body and a steadier heart. All is well because you can return to yourself. All is well because you can choose peace without needing to understand everything. All is well because you are allowed to grow slowly. All is well because love can still be practiced here. All is well because your heart can become a safe place again. Let the final affirmation of this journey form gently inside you. All is well in my heart, my mind, and my life. If that feels too large, let it become smaller. All is becoming well within me, or even softer. I am willing to let peace return. There is no need to force words your body cannot receive. The most healing affirmation is often the one that feels like a door, not a wall. It invites you forward. It does not push. So choose the doorway your heart can enter. All is well in my heart, my mind, and my life. Let the heart hear it first. All is well in my heart. This does not mean your heart has never been hurt. It means your heart is still capable of love. It is still capable of softening. It is still capable of opening at the pace that feels safe. It is still beating, still learning, still offering you the chance to live with more tenderness. Your heart does not have to be perfect to be well. It can be healing and well. It can be tender and well. It can be cautious and still learning trust. It can hold old memories and still make room for new peace. Speak to the heart with respect. Thank you for carrying me. Thank you for feeling so deeply. Thank you for not closing forever. Thank you for letting me return. All is well in my heart. Now let the words move to the mind. All is well in my mind. The mind may not be silent. It may still think. It may still question. It may still bring old stories to the surface from time to time. But the mind can be guided. It can be soothed. It can be offered better words. Your mind is not your enemy. It is a garden that has grown what was planted, and now you are planting differently. You are planting patience. You are planting self-respect. You are planting forgiveness. You are planting trust. You are planting the belief that peace is allowed. When old thoughts return, do not panic. A garden does not become new in one day. You keep tending it. You keep choosing what to water. You keep giving light to what you want to grow. All is well in my mind. Let that mean my mind is learning peace. Let that mean my thoughts can become kinder. Let that mean I can pause before believing every fear. Let that mean I am allowed to choose again. And now, let the affirmation touch your life. All is well in my life. This may be the tenderest part, because life can feel unfinished. There may be unanswered questions. There may be changes still moving. There may be relationships, work, health, family, dreams, or choices that do not feel simple. So let this phrase be grounded. All is well in my life does not mean every detail is easy. It means my life is still worthy of love. It means this chapter is not outside the reach of grace. It means I can meet today with more peace than yesterday. It means I do not have to condemn my whole life because one part is uncertain. It means there is still beauty available, still guidance, still breath, still possibility, still room for a softer way. All is well in my heart, my mind, and my life. Let the words move like a slow bell through your body. No rush, no strain. Just a steady sound calling you back to center. You may remember now the path you have walked through these words. You began with the simple possibility that peace could meet you where you are. You allowed yourself to soften. You remembered safety in this moment. You allowed change to become less frightening. You released the need to control everything. You gave your timing back to trust. You remembered that peace is not something you have to earn. You chose kinder thoughts one breath at a time. You opened to good in gentle and honest ways. You offered forgiveness to the places in you that were tired of carrying shame. You allowed life to help you. And now you rest in the knowing that all is becoming well within you. This is not a performance. This is a practice. You do not have to hold every affirmation perfectly. You do not have to remember every word. Let the feeling remain. Let the tone remain. Let the softness remain. And if only one sentence stays with you, let it be the one your heart needs most. Maybe it is, I am safe enough to breathe. Maybe it is, I allow change to support my growth. Maybe it is, I release what I cannot control. Maybe it is, I trust my own timing. Maybe it is, I am worthy of peace. Maybe it is, I forgive myself and begin again. Maybe it is simply, all is well. Take the one that feels like medicine to your spirit and carry it gently. Carry it into your next breath. Carry it into the quiet after this. Carry it into the moment when the old fear tries to return. Not as a weapon against fear, but as a lantern. A lantern does not fight the dark. It shines. Let your affirmation shine. Let it show you the next small step. Let it remind you that you do not have to become hard in order to survive. You can be soft and wise. You can be gentle and strong. You can be open and discerning. You can be peaceful and still take action. You can trust life and still honor your own boundaries. You can forgive yourself and still learn. You can say all is well and still be honest about what needs care. This is a mature peace, a human peace, a peace that does not float above life but walks through life with steady feet and a kinder heart. Rest there for a moment. Imagine your inner world as a quiet lake at dusk. Earlier, the wind may have moved across it. Thoughts may have rippled the surface. Old worries may have disturbed the water. But now the air is settling. The lake does not force itself to become still. It simply stops being stirred. Let yourself stop being stirred for a while. Let the surface of your mind grow calm. Let the body receive the message that it does not need to prepare for every possible tomorrow right now. Let the heart receive the message that it can put down the old weight for this moment. Let the soul receive the message that it has time. You have time to grow. You have time to learn peace. You have time to become more honest with yourself. You have time to practice love. You have time to begin again. Nothing about your worth is running out. There is no age, no mistake, no delay, no season of confusion that can remove the truth of your being. You are still worthy of kindness. You are still worthy of rest. You are still worthy of receiving good. You are still worthy of a peaceful inner life. Let gratitude enter now, very gently. Not forced gratitude. Not the kind that tells you to ignore pain. The kind that notices what is tender and true. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for this moment of softness. Thank you for the strength that carried me here. Thank you for the part of me that still wants peace. Thank you for the chance to choose a kinder thought. Thank you for the quiet ways life supports me. Gratitude does not have to be loud. Sometimes gratitude is only a whisper in the heart, a small turning toward what is still good, a small bow toward the unseen support that has carried you through days you did not know how to cross. Let gratitude be simple. Let it be enough. Maybe you are grateful for your breath. Maybe for your body, even if you are learning to speak to it with more love. Maybe for a lesson that made you wiser. Maybe for the courage to keep going. Maybe for the possibility that tomorrow can be met with softer eyes. Let the gratitude rise naturally. And if gratitude feels far away, be grateful for the willingness to be willing. That counts too. You do not have to force the heart open. You can sit beside the closed places with patience until they learn you are safe. All is well. There it is again, a quiet anchor, a soft return. Is well. Let it mean I can stop fighting myself tonight. Let it mean I can let this breath be enough. Let it mean I can trust that I am still becoming. Let it mean I can choose a peace without pretending life is perfect. Let it mean I am worthy of love in the middle of my process. Now bring all 10 affirmations together, not as a list to rush through, but as a gentle current moving through you. I am safe in this moment. I allow change to support my growth. I release the need to control everything. I trust the timing of my life. I am worthy of peace. I choose loving thoughts one breath at a time. I welcome good in gentle and honest ways. I forgive myself and allow a new beginning. I let life help me in ways I can receive. All is well in my heart, my mind, and my life. Let there be space after each one. Let the body choose what it can receive. Let the mind rest from needing to analyze. Let the heart take only what feels true enough for now. These affirmations are not chains. They are keys. Use the one that opens the door you are standing before. If you are afraid, return to safety. If life is shifting, return to growth. If you are gripping, return to release. If you are impatient, return to timing. If you are tired from proving, return to peace. If your thoughts are harsh, return to love. If you feel closed, return to receiving. If guilt rises, return to forgiveness. If you feel alone, return to support. If you forget everything else, return to all is well. There is no wrong way to return. Every return is a blessing. Every return is a sign that you are remembering your own light. You may forget these truths again. That is part of being human. You may have a difficult day. You may feel fear. You may become impatient. You may speak to yourself in an old tone and then notice it afterward. When that happens, do not turn the forgetting into failure. Simply return. Return with less drama. Return with more kindness. Return as many times as needed. The path of peace is not a straight line. It is a series of returns. Returning to breath, returning to the heart, returning to love, returning to the present moment, returning to the truth that you are not here to be perfect. You are here to become more conscious, more compassionate, more aligned with the quiet wisdom within you. Let this be enough. As this journey closes, do not rush away from the softness you have created. Stay with it for one more breath. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your face soften. Let your hands rest. Let the space around you feel a little kinder. You have given yourself a gift by listening inward. You have turned toward peace, and that matters. You have offered your mind new words. You have offered your heart a gentler place to land. And even if your life is still unfolding, even if not every answer is here, even if tomorrow still asks something of you, you can meet it with a little more tenderness. You can meet it without abandoning yourself. You can meet it with the quiet reminder, I do not need to know everything to be at peace. I do not need to control everything to be supported. I do not need to be perfect to be worthy. I do not need to rush to be on my path. I can breathe. I can soften. I can choose love again. All is well. Let the words become smaller now, softer now, almost like a lullaby inside the heart. All is well. All is becoming well. All is held in a love greater than my fear. Rest in that. Not because life has no challenges, but because you are learning not to meet those challenges with a closed heart. Not because change will never come, but because you are learning you can remain present while it does. Not because you have all the answers, but because you are no longer refusing the comfort available in this breath. May you be gentle with yourself after these words end. May you notice one small good thing and let it count. May you speak to yourself with more patience. May you allow rest when rest is needed. May you welcome change at a pace your heart can hold. May you trust that your path does not need to look like anyone else's to be sacred. May you remember that peace is not far from you. It is here in the breath, here in the pause, here in the choice to be kind, here in the quiet sentence that returns again and again. All is well. Carry that with you into your day, into your night, into your next beginning, into the places where you are still learning to trust. Let it be a hand over the heart. Let it be a candle in the window. Let it be the voice within you that says, I am here. I will stay. I will grow gently. I will receive what is good. I will forgive what is ready to be released. I will meet my life with peace. And if all you can do is breathe, then breathe. That is enough for this moment. If all you can do is soften one small place inside, soften there. That is enough for this moment. If all you can do is whisper one affirmation, whisper it with love. All is well. And as you move forward, may those words not feel like pressure to be happy, but permission to be held, permission to pause, permission to trust slowly, permission to let your heart become a peaceful home again. All is well in your heart. All is well in your mind. All is well in your life as it continues to unfold. One breath, one choice, one gentle beginning at a time.